Hello, welcome back to Shade of Heresy. I wanted to give you a quick update on what's been going on. I've left the backdrop as Guilliman there, and my Legion 13 Ultramarines 13th Legion. Little picture while I have a little chat and introduce to what's going on today. So a friend of mine, Jonas, plays the Ravenguard, actually created a apocalypse board for us. So a double-sized board, i.e. two 6x4 boards put together to make one board at his house. And we planned a really big game against one of our friends, Matt, who plays the Iron Warriors, and it was to be a surprise for him, really. So what I'm going to do is get some music started and just talk you through a few of the warm-up games that we had. So let's get some music on. Let's start with a bit of... Oh, I've lost it. All right, no, here it is. There we go. Right, suitable war music. So what we did first of all is we planned a couple of 3K games between myself and Jonas. And here's a quick view of the board. So this is one side of the board with the Ravenguard set up. And you can see we've got a few speeders here. And we've got the platforms here, a couple of dreadnoughts, 3 dreadnoughts. And let's have a look at the other side. Is this one. So here we've got my Ultramarines, and we're set up alongside here. Now what we did start off with, obviously this is 6 foot wide, so we set up 21 inches in instead of 12 to try and we didn't want to be too far away from each other, but we wanted to be close as well. It does work quite well with the Horus Heresy 3.0 rule set, because everything's a little bit quicker than in 2.0, getting across the board. So obviously Rhino's going 12, getting out 7 with your troops, etc. So it wasn't actually too bad. It played really well. So this was the first game. I'm going to give you a quick run through of how we set up. I've got a couple of little videos here. Let me see if I can get this over. Bosh. There we go. In fact, just let me turn this volume off. Okay. So you can see here we've got the Ultramarines. This is my Ultramarines close by. I've got my Locutarus here, squad here, Rhino here, the all as pred, and you can see we're facing off against the Ravenguard. It gives you a good idea of the sort of size of the board that we're playing on. So this is obviously a double-sized board. Got some nice whatchamacallit, it's down the middle. Can't remember what they're called, having a brainwave, but anyway. Again, line of Ultramarines, line of Ravens opposite. Alright, so that's that one. And then this is another view from the Ravenguard side. Alright, so 3 dreads. I think that's a Sakaran. A couple of dreads here. And in the corner, is it the Cerberus, the super heavy? One of the rules of this game was that we had to take we're going to have to take a super heavy for the main game that we've got planned. I didn't have one ready, so I played the Kratos here. But there you go, gives you a nice view of how they line up and how epic does it look having the armies laid up on a board like this. So that's kind of a first look, if you like, at the board. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. And we're going to move on to the actual game. So what we did is set up a game, and my friend Matt, the idea was he had a 3,000 point army ready, and Jonas was going to play him with a 3,000 point army as well. But what actually happened is I had a 3,000 point army as well of my Ultramarines, and Jonas had a 6,000 point army. The rules were that everyone had to take a super heavy, so Iron Warriors with a super heavy, Ultramarines with a super heavy, and the Ravenguard with 2 super heavies to even things up. And we were playing on the 8x6 board, and we're going to run over the rules and how we played first of all. So here we go. Welcome to the Battle of Distorex IX, in the choking, ash-reeking ruins of Distorex IX, a hive corpse flayed by orbital fire. 4th Legion Iron Warriors grind forward in sullen lockstep with their despised allies, the 13th Legion Ultramarines. Forced into this farce of unity, they claw through the industrial necrosprawl to seize lost mechanicum relics spat from a buried reliquary. Archaeotech so profane it could tip the Long War's balance. But the shadows may have claimed it first, a vast 19th Legion Ravenguard host, pale spectres in midnight plate, already has its eyes on the prize. Flanked by the grim 9th Mendicant, their banners tattered but unbowed. Warhorns keening grief across the rubble. No quarter, no trust, only iron-cold calculus. The creak of ceramides and the wet crunch of war engines beneath a sky of falling cinders. Push in, take it, or die, forgotten in the dust. So this is what we turned up to. Jonas had written the rules for us, ready to go. The game length was 4 turns, as with the new Horus Heresy 3.0 rules, and we had 6 objectives. And they were placed on ground level, so we didn't want there to be sort of level issues with getting up to people. 15 inches away from any board edge and 15 inches away from each other. And we rolled off to see how the deployment went. The rules were that we deployed 18 inches from the home edge if it was Dawn of War on a roll of a 1 to 3, and 28 inches from the home edge if it was Hammer and Anvil on a roll of a 4 to 6. The 6 objectives, when you took them each turn, you rolled the dice. So every turn you rolled the dice if you controlled it, and on a roll of a 1, you didn't get points, and the objective blew up. Gone for the game. If you rolled a 2 to 3, you got 1 point, a 4 to 5, 2 points, and a 6, you get 3 points, but then the objective moved 3d6 and a scatter dice. Now, obviously, these points had line added to them if you had line troops or line 1, line 2, etc. So we did use that. Vanguard, we could play that as well. First strike, you got D3 points. Slay the Warlord was D3 points. Obviously, 2 Warlords per side. Giant Killer, so for any of the 4 Lords of War on the table, that was also D3 points. And Last Man Standing was also D3 points. So, we've got the rules, we've got the board. Here we go. So let's start with the board setup, how it looked. This is what we turned up to. And you can see we've got the central dividing line here. And funnily enough, we did roll Hammer and Anvil. So we were playing long ways like this. All right. So what then happened is we set up. And this is the Iron Warriors. No, this is not. This is the Ravenguard. What am I talking about? Don't get too excited. So this is the Ravenguard. We've got some Dark Furies down here. Predator, Sakaran. I think there's a Dread there. Land Raider. This is the Command Rhino. We've got a... What was there? There was the Knight here. And then a Cerberus in the middle. Yes, Cerberus in the middle here, I think. And then obviously this huge knight thing, which is just beautiful. It's just a beast. I love it. And then he also infiltrated some guys into the middle here. I think these are Mordethan. And yeah, so that's 6,000 points of Ravenguard with knight allies, or just one big knight basically, just to sort of, and it is one force organization, interestingly, so that was a good job. Let's move on. We've got a little view, oh, bit messy, hang on, couple of views of the game. This is again a view of the Ravenguard, and you can see how the Ultramarines and the Iron Warriors set up opposite. Okay, so we're just running through there. All right, this is a better view. You can see that myself and my Ultramarines and my friend Matt with his Iron Warriors, we set up as an opposing line here. I've got some, first time I've ever played these actually, the Formantaris up here, some troops here, There's a couple of these guys that you can infiltrate. Can't think what they are. The little guns. Two lasers. Two lasers. Got my Pred here. I've got two rhinos with suzerain and champions in. We've got a Land Raider here. I think this is the Iron Warriors General, and then the Ultramarines General over here. We've got a Typhon middle, a Cerberus over on the side, but yeah, it's 3,000 points each. So yeah, it's about to kick off. It's about to kick off. So again, another view of the Ravenguard. Right, let me get some. Here we go. Okay, so into the game we go. This is, I think, roughly turn 1. We actually stole the initiative. No, this is turn 2. We stole the initiative because I've stolen the initiative in 5 out of my 6 games so far. And obviously everything moved forward. We wanted to get to this line pretty quick in the middle. There was an objective here. There was one here. There was one at the back here. There was one just here. And then there was 2 over in the Ravenguard section. And what we've got here is the Dark Furies with my Susies and Champion, and the Iron Warrior Cataphracti, special guys, can't think what they're called. And we both managed to get the charge on the Dark Furies in the same turn. We did actually beat them and murder them here. There's actually one of the knights coming in from the Ravenguard Knight allies, so they came in off the side and tried to dislodge us. He also had a squad of guys just in the background here, you can't see, there they are, that jumped in using the interdiction cadre. So they came to give us a little funky mess in the back. All right, so we've moved up to the line. So that's where we're at. I think this is the start of our turn 2, or into the Iron Warriors and Ultramarine turn 2. And actually, we did really well at the start. The Iron Warriors and Ultramarines, I think we sort of managed to get sort of a 10-point lead at the end of turn 2, maybe even 15 points. It's another view of the main battlefield. I mean, this is carnage. There was a couple of boys, a couple of the lads there with us, so it was a good group gathering. And yeah, so this gives you a quick overview of where we're at turn 2. Little close-up shot here, beautiful. This is the other side of the battlefield, so you can see what's going on here. I think my Land Raider got blown up by the Knight, the big huge Knight guy. So my guys with Cataphracti are out and running. We've got some troops here, we've got some Iron Warrior troops here, and then some Ravenguard troops here. So 3 sort of troop line units fighting over this objective just here. So that was fun. And in the middle, the more Deathan was sort of like causing a bit of a problem. Here we've got the view from the Ravenguard moving forward. Still pretty coherent at this stage, really. Oh, we don't want to go to that one. That's for later. Right, so what have we got now? Where are we? We've done that one. We've done that one. We've got a little view of the battlefield in turn. Again, I think this is turn 2, the end of our turn 2. So just a great shot of like what's going on here. This is crazy. I should have done these ones earlier, but there's a little view here that I just want to cover of the Ravenguard list. So we've got the Knight here, and then these 3 Knights which are infiltrating from the side, a drop pod, the Cerberus, and we've got some Sicarans, Predator, some Dreads, 2 units of 10 Dark Furies. One of them came in a little later with the Librarian, some Rhinos, some troops, the Command Rhino. We've got the Librarian, which I was just brought up a second ago. I actually just painted this for my friend as a little treat. So here we go. We'll have a look at him. There we go. Really happy with how the cloak came out and the feathers. I think that's come out wonderfully. So I just painted that as a little change from the Ultramarines for my friend Jonas. But let's get back off that and back to the army. So This was the Ravenguard list. We're just going to have another look at this video. This is a little view of the battlefield at the start, just so you can get a rundown of how we set up. I've got my Cerberus here, we've got the Typhon in the middle, and you can see the Ultramarines Dread here, this double plasma Dread. Got my guys in Land Raider, another Land Raider, so we tried to have a big strong middle. And you can see he's got some of these, can't think what they're called, the Iron Warrior Fulmentaris. Couple of these guys are amazing, by the way, in this new edition. These Iron Warrior robot guys, God, they were tough, man. They were just a big unit moving forwards. You can see we've got a line of tanks here. Because it was long ways, it was quite difficult to space everything in a little bit. So yeah, and then we get a rundown of the middle. Okay, so this is the Ravenguard. So that's pretty much what I've got coverage wise. I'm going to bring up this so you can see just how close it was. By the end of turn 2, I think we were 20, let's have like 16-9 up or something. Oh no, it was something like 15-9. Then we went to 31-15 up at the end of our turn 3. And then Ravenguard turn 3, they were on like 29s. I think it was 31-29. We got to 40 at the end of our turn 4, and the Ravenguard pulled it back and got to 43. So it actually finished 43-40. So that's just a quick overview of how the game went. I thought it was quite fun to sort of see it and see what it looks like on a giant board. I can tell you this was a hell of a lot of fun, but it took us about 10 to 11 hours to play the game. Yes, 10 to 11 hours, just solid on it, just getting involved, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. Well done to Jonas and the Ravenguard, 43-40, holding off the uneasy alliance of the Ultramarines and the Iron Warriors. That is Stuart from Shader Heresy out, and that's my little video showing what the game looks like on a double-sized board. We'll call it an Apocalypse board. I have to say, the Horus Heresy 3.0 rule sets aren't the best, but if you tweak them a little bit and on a big board, because of the new movement, it works amazingly for the bigger games. I'm not impressed with it on the 3K and lower games, but with the huge games like this, it really seems to shine. We just couldn't have got through a game like this in 2.0, not because of all the re-rolls and the rules and stuff. But in 3.0, we got through it. So well done, Jonas. 43-40. We'll get our revenge at some point. But yeah, Stuart from Shade Heresy out. Enjoy.